It is Thursday, January 8th. It is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. And we have plenty to talk about today, as usual. Coming off of AEW Dynamite, coming off a big trade in the NBA. Depending on what your status is of Trae Young. We're gonna talk about that. Again, we had Dynamite last night. Andrade is back for the third time, so plenty to get into. SP3, how you doing?
I am doing well. It is a Thursday. I am here with Jeremy. My first time doing a podcast with Jeremy since we had an intervention on New Year's Day. It's been too long, Jeremy.
I know.
Good to see you.
I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't feel like I've done like the intro in forever, because we missed some days. I missed some days, and it just feels like it has been a week now. I forgot like January 1st was a week, and yeah, I missed Tuesday's show as I tried to actually take a break, and I tried to take care of myself for once. It kind of worked. It didn't work fully, but it kind of worked. I finally got some like decent sleep last night. Good. Yeah. Still very behind, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. How have you been feeling in the new year so far?
I'm good, other than Twitter being awful at getting back to you and helping you regain your account when some scammer who is either from Nigeria or the UK has basically broken into my account and asking people for PayPal thousands of dollars. Luckily, I have other ways of contacting me, so I've been informed by certain people that my account has been doing that. But if you want to contact me on Twitter at TrueHillHeat, for now, until Twitter decides to finally have someone manually do it. I feel like everything is just automated on Twitter. They don't have any type of actual human being who does support, right?
My head.
Oh, Harlem, what's wrong?
I just fell on the wall.
She headbutted the wall, apparently.
Goldberg ass Harlem over here.
Say, I'm Goldberg.
I'm Goldberg.
That should be a clip within itself.
Show's over, everyone. We've peaked.
She said I'm Goldberg. She didn't even say I'm Goldberg. She said I'm Goldberg.
It's all downhill from here. We can't go any higher than that. Oh man. I don't even have a good transition off of that. Twitter's stupid. Elon sucks.
She's been the MB. She's going for MVP of 2026.
Oh, she's
on In the Weeds.
She's got that wrapped up. What are we talking about? That's completely wrapped up. What a legend Harlem is. Absolute legend. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna jump into things a little quickly here because
okay.
I have to get certain things out of the way. First, leave a thumbs up on the video. There we go. There's the pyro. There's the ballyhoo, all that fun stuff. Leave a thumbs up on the video. All that helps us out. Subscribe to the channel. That helps us out. Check out the clips. I will at some point get better about doing shorts. I've been exhausted, folks. Absolutely exhausted. Let me reset a little bit this weekend, and then I'll get back. I'll get back into it. But check all that stuff out. Leave us a good review on iTunes, Spotify, however you're listening to the podcast. Leave us a comment if you're watching on demand on this thing. Leave us a super chat, get your question, comment, statement read on the air. All of that fun stuff. I'll have the banner in a second because the banner is NBA related. The poll question is actually very important today, SP3. It is a 1 hour poll question. So it's not waiting till the end of the show to read the results, because the poll question is, should Jeremy, review Dynamite? Because, as people saw last night, the main event ended in a DQ. Marina and Tony. Hold on. Marina and Tony ended in a DQ. There was a lights out match, which we have been told does not count. It is not part of the show. AEW is not responsible for it. I'm just going to quote everything. So, balloons. So, is on the technicality here, did the show end in a DQ? I'm going to leave it up to the chat. I'll review it. I watched the show, obviously. I have no problem reviewing it, but I'm actually very curious to know how the chat feels about whether or not the lights out main event, non-main event, non-lights out. I just want the balloons to come back.
I know.
Whether or not this counts. So the poll question is, does Jeremy have to review Dynamite? It's a yes or no question. I figure we will get into the Dynamite review about an hour or so, because we got plenty of hoops to talk about, and we have other topics to hit, I'm sure. But I just want to know what the chat has to say. My wife has weighed in. The ITW general manager has weighed in. I'm not going to read her message because I feel like that'll influence a lot of people. She's very powerful. People take her word as gospel, as they should. And so I don't want to read her message to influence the chat. I will read the influence, or I will read the message in an hour and have a poll. I know how you feel, SP3. You called me a coward last night, so I know how you feel. Yeah, I don't have an issue reviewing Dynamite. I'm just generally curious about where people sit on this, and do we honor?
Honestly, I don't really care because I have to review it in like 3 hours anyway. So.
Like, do we honor the lights out stipulation as that is not the true main event? That is not the sanctioned main event. Or does lights out still count because it is the television main event, right? So I want to know what people think.
Fair, other than the cinder blocks, this was the most tame lights out matchup, so I don't think it even counts. I don't even think it counts as a lights out match.
I disagree, because this match,
the lights
actually turned out for the first half of it, and they tried to use that dumbass spotlight, and nobody could tell what was going on, and then they realized, yeah, this ain't working. Let's just turn these lights back on.
I would have thought they figured that out during the Willow segment when it wasn't working for them there.
Yeah.
And then they just did it again during the lights out match.
I thought the lights legitimately went out in the Willow segment. I was like, oh shit, somebody didn't pay a bill.
I was like, oh, fuck, what's going on? And then they put the spotlight on her. I was like, oh, y'all are trying to do a spotlight, but it's not working.
Yeah, it didn't work all that well. People are saying, like, you have to because I know you're going to hate it. I didn't hate this show. I mean, it was whatever to me. I didn't think it was.
I didn't hate the show. I thought it was the best weekly show I've seen this week.
I thought it was the worst show, the worst Dynamite of the year, if I'm being totally honest. But
it is also the only Dynamite of the year.
Don't ruin the joke here.
It's both the worst and the best Dynamite of the year.
The rule means something if you have to review a boring ass WWE show. I mean, in AEW terms, in AEW land, this was to me a boring AEW show. Like, compared to most AEW shows, this one was all right. It existed, you know.
If we're comparing it to last week's show, is it as good or better than last week's show? No, but it was a solid to good show, which is more than I can say about Raw this week, and probably more than I can say about NXT this week. I thought NXT was fine, but yeah.
Yeah,
but you have to understand what type of show it was. It was more of a maintenance setup show.
It was
the real first show of the year is next week, so it was more of that. But by that standard, I think it was a good show.
Yeah, it 100% was. I'm not comparing it to Raw because WWE's been lifeless for about a year now, so I'm not. I hold AEW to a higher standard than that. I know people don't always like that, of like, whoa, well, if you look at it compared to WWE, yeah. Don't compare yourself to WWE. Be better. Try to be better than WWE. And I think for the most part, AEW is better than WWE. So I hold it to a higher standard than that. By AEW standards, I thought this was a This was just a fine show. Nothing bad, nothing super great. There was some fun stuff, but it was fine.
It was the third best wrestling show I've seen this year.
All right, Wrestle Kingdom, obviously.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah, I with the Stardom show, right? That was in the new year.
No, Stardom wasn't this year.
Oh, was that the end of last year?
That first 3-hour SmackDown was actually good.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like it was a good show.
That was a good, noteworthy show that you could talk about. People are still talking about it days later. So that would be second, and then this Dynamite show would be third, with New Year's Evil coming in at fourth.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean,
no. Yeah, you're right. You're right, chat. So Dynamite is fourth now.
Okay.
New Year's Dash is second, and then SmackDown third, and then Dynamite fourth.
That's fair. All right. Well, we'll see with the poll. I assume people are gonna say yes, which again, okay. I think it was Zeno Hours that the problem is the chat is more biased towards AEW. That's true. You guys got to admit that. You guys are more biased towards AEW.
To be fair, Zeno Hour is biased towards awful takes, so I guess it evens out.
And Zeno Hour loves NXT.
Exactly.
I love NXT. As I always say with NXT, shit happens when it comes to NXT. You might not like all of it. You'll probably hate most of it, but shit happens on that show, and I can respect that. Oh, yeah, you guys are biased towards AEW. AEW's good. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard, but they won 11 in the Weeds Awards last week.
They won 10,
more than Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated Awards. They won. I think they won like 21 True Hill Heaties.
Oh, really?
They won 21 of the Heaties.
You guys got too many awards.
WWE only won the worst ones. Worst feud, worst storyline, worst major show. That's the ones that WWE won.
21. They won 21. How many awards total do you guys have?
I think we had 25 awards.
AEW ass awards with all these titles and stuff. You get an award, and you get an award, and you get a title.
You should have saw these graphics. I put them up on Twitter. The graphics that Romeo made through freaking Gronk and other AI systems of AEW stars holding awards. Freaking made Takeshita look like he was 10 years older. It was crazy.
I voted in the True Hill Heat Awards, so I actually know how many awards you guys have. I gave legitimate votes for that. That's how much I respect you and your process in True Hill Heat, that I gave legitimate votes and I did not bullshit of match of the year is Suzuki and Butterbean, which is the legit match of the year. But yeah, I gave some, for the most part. I think there were a couple where I was like, yeah, I gotta still be me on some of this voting. But for the most part, I gave legitimate answers on that.
Appreciate you for that. TK's not paying me anything. He's not even following me anymore. I gotta do something to get him to follow True Hill Heat now.
Okay, a couple super chats. Most of them are AEW related, so I'll get to them later. I will read them, I promise everybody. We're gonna read them at the proper time. But Ten Ruza does say Kate and Alex have puppets. Harlem needs a puppet. Harlem's too good for a puppet. Harlem's Harlem. Yeah. Harlem comes in here and just
naturally.
Yeah.
Her.
Yeah. We don't need to degrade Harlem to a puppet. She's as real as it gets out here. And Ryan says, I'm biased towards women of wrestling. We all got Louis is biased towards NWA, so
There you go.
All right, I'll read some of these other ones as we get closer to the hour, when it's decided that I assume I will have to review AEW Dynamite. I'm just gonna say everything is fine. I'm gonna mail in my review.
You're either gonna review.
Yeah, you either get a half-ass review, everybody, or I don't review it at all. That's what you're really voting for here. All right, NBA news, SP3. The big news is let me get my banner out of the way here, because it is NBA related, and I feel like you're gonna have a thought on it, and then we'll get into the Trae Young trade. My banner today, hot take. Luka Doncic is European Russell Westbrook. That is my take on the NBA. Thoughts?
European Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
What is that supposed to mean?
he puts up good numbers. He had a triple-double last night, but he also had 7 turnovers. He shot like 10% from 3. I think he's not shooting well from 3 this year.
He's been awful from 3 this year.
Been awful from 3. A lot of turnovers, but like he's averaging a triple-double, and people are like, oh, look at the great numbers that Luka's putting up. He's shooting 31% from 3 on 10 attempts. Knock it off. His free throw percentage isn't great. Can't even get 80% on free throws. But he's putting up great numbers, putting up great stats, and they're leading to wins. This is not an issue. People criticize Westbrook. Oh, look at the numbers, but they led to wins. Being European Russell Westbrook, especially MVP version of Russell Westbrook, I don't think this is a bad thing. I know people are going to take it that way, but that's one of the greatest seasons in NBA history. His triple-double season. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
That got them to a 6 seed.
Oh, yeah. It was a tough West. That team sucked. This Lakers team's way better.
This is a tough West as well. This
is
a tougher West.
Sure, but this Lakers team's way better than that Thunder team. That Thunder team was god-awful.
Yeah. It was just Russell Westbrook. Yeah.
So I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm saying this as he is playing very much like Russell Westbrook played in that MVP season. Which again, it was the MVP of the league.
He played like that last night for sure. I'll give you that. I don't think that's an amp description of him the entire season. But
okay. That's fair.
Okay.
I'm throwing out hot takes and trolling.
I know. Go ahead.
He is turning the ball over way too much, though.
Yeah.
Like that's what really stands out to me with him this season is he just throws some of these he's a great passer. He's a much better passer than Russell Westbrook. Russ got a lot of assists because there was a lot of like drop-offs and like gravity. Luka actually makes like legit high-level passes, but he's some of the stuff he's doing where he just like throws it to nobody. I'm like, what are you doing here? Neither plays defense, but they act like they play defense. But they get a lot of steals.
Defense. He was playing defense before LeBron came and set a bad example. It felt like he was putting more effort on defense when LeBron wasn't here. But ever since LeBron's come back and LeBron isn't putting any effort on defense, Luka's like, why do I have to? If the greatest player of all time ain't gonna according to a whole bunch of 12-year-olds, why do I have to play hard on defense?
Yeah, LeBron. All right, we can blame LeBron for this. Setting a good example on offense. LeBron still got it offensively, defensively. Yeah. All right. What were you saying before I gave my hot take?
My hot take is that Trae Young got traded for a hot dog and a handshake.
Yeah, he got traded for nothing.
Nothing.
It's like a salary dump.
Yeah,
that's
insane.
I know I've been on record. I love Trae Young. I think he's great. I know over the years he's definitely slipped. He's still speaking of people who don't play defense, he might be the leader in people who aren't playing defense for a star level player. But like that's still a dude who's getting you 25 and 10 on most nights. I know his numbers aren't good this year. In fairness, he's played 10 games this year. It's tough to really work yourself into a rhythm when you're in and out of the lineup. So I don't hold this year against him too much. At his peak, at his best, when we have seen him, he's a 25 and 10 guy. Like he's still a really good player, and he shoots relatively well from 3. He probably takes too many bad shots that he shouldn't take from 3 for the level of 3-point shooter he is. But like I think Trae Young is still a very good player. So to be traded for CJ McCollum, who's playing well this year, and Corey Kispert, who I think there were hopes for him. I just don't think it's like quite worked out to that. Like he's a fine off the bench guy who's gonna knock down threes. I think he works well for this Atlanta team. I don't think there was much value for him in Washington as they were trying to get a little bit younger and playing more of their young players. But that's it. No draft picks. No like can't miss, not even a can't miss like star, but no like young player that it's like, oh, okay, we can develop. Like Corey Kispert's 26. CJ McCollum's got 3 years left in the league, if that. I think he's kind of like an expiring
They-
deal too.
They literally only got him because he was an expiring deal, and they wanted to get off of the Jordan Poole contract in the offseason. That's the only reason they had CJ McCollum, and now he was used to get probably the best player the Washington Wizards has had since prime Bradley Beal or prime John Wall. Like I think Trae Young right now at 27 is actually better than Russell Westbrook when they got him.
Yeah, Russ averaged a triple-double that season, but that was I'm the only guy on a really shitty team that's going to put up numbers triple-double. So, that Russ was that was the real – I mean, the decline kind of started in the Houston season, but then you really start to see it go down in the Washington season. Yeah, I would say Trae's better than that version of Russell Westbrook. And, I mean, Washington – they basically transformed Beal and that terrible contract and no trade clause into Trae Young. So if you look at it like that, it's a good deal. Was this really Trae Young's value though? Like, did he have nothing else out there? It's not a good contract.
I'm like shocked. I'm really shocked by this because like it's just what was it? 4 seasons ago, he took that team to the conference finals. He's been a perennial kind of a third team All NBA guy, a guy that's average more points and assists than anyone in the NBA at one point. And yeah, he's been out for a lot of the season, but for a hot dog and a handshake, basically. CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, that's as good as a hot dog and a handshake as anything in an NBA trade I've seen in recent history.
It was bad. No draft picks. You couldn't throw in a second.
Draft picks.
Like, come on now. What are we doing? Jose saying the Hawks are going all in on Jaden Johnson, and by freeing up money, they're going to try to get AD. I don't mind it for the Hawks' perspective, mind you, because Trae didn't fit with what the team's doing. They've been playing well without him. They're changing their identity to be a little bit more defense than offense, because they were going offense with when they were building around Trae, and then it didn't work, so they're going more defense now with Dyson Daniels, Nickel Walker-Alexander, and Jalen Johnson. So I don't have an issue with that. It's just, again, this was all that was out there for Trae. Somebody said it was also Jose. For Trae to get to the Wizards, CJ had to be included. Yeah, money-wise, he had to be. Credit the Hawks for trading into the team he wanted. Did Trae want to go to the Wizards, or did Trae be like, the Wizards are the only team that's going to accept me, so I better be happy with this because Atlanta don't want me no more? That's what I want to know.
That's what Sham's report was, that Trae's one of his top destination was the Washington Wizards. And it's just like, and yeah, when I heard that report as well, I reacted like, that's your top destination, or that is your only destination?
Yeah.
That's the only place where you can be a Tyler, you could be the number one guy, the number one option. You will be the best player they had in a couple of seasons, and it will be like, oh my God, we got Trae Young. Because any other team, it would have been like, oh, we got Trae Young. With the Washington Wizards, this is like a new lease on life for the Washington Wizards in a lot of ways, them getting Trae Young.
But it's
crazy.
Sure.
It's crazy. Viewed as one of the greatest draft day trades of all time. Trae Young for Luka Doncic. And both of these teams have traded those players away within like the first. These are guys that people thought were going to be franchise players for the next 10 years. And within 10 years, all of these guys have been traded. Both of them.
I'm not even sure when it comes to Trae and with the destination thing. I'm not even sure like Wizards fans are fully happy with this, because I think they were liking the young players, and now you bring in Trae. Trae's in a weird spot, because is he good enough to help a contending team? I'm not sure because of his defensive limitations. But is that the guy you want to effectively lead a younger team? Because I don't feel like he's a great leader. Like, the leadership in Atlanta was they just empowered him and he put up numbers, and they did make a conference finals thanks to some good breaks, but you got to have breaks to get as far as anywhere in the league. But is he like the best leader for these young guys in Washington? Like McCollum is a veteran who knows and is going to be a leader, and he was. And Chris Middleton is still there as well with that stuff. But I just don't know if Trae is like this full-on leader that you would want. Like, I don't know if Washington fans are super happy with this deal.
I don't understand I wouldn't really understand if Washington fans aren't happy with this deal, because what was y'all other option? Y'all had CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, and y'all turned that into Trae Young. I am sorry. This is the best player. If you can get him on the court and he can actually play, he's the best player they've had in a Washington Wizards jersey in a couple of years. If you want to say Russell Westbrook, then it's been at least 5 seasons since they had this good of a player, because the latter years of Bradley Beal was not that good. So you could go back as far as like prime John Wall. If he's on the court and he's giving you 21 and 10, that is the best player that you've had in a Washington Wizards jersey in a long time. So I think that this is a trade for me in regards to the Washington Wizards side of it. As far as the Atlanta Hawks, it's a B that can elevate to an A if they are able to get AD, because I know the point of this is to drop that contract. I thought that they would involve Trae Young in a Anthony Davis trade, but they want to free Trae Young from the team and go more defensive, and then probably trade a couple of their younger players for AD and a couple of their draft capital that they didn't include. They didn't have to include. I would have got at least one draft pick, like a second rounder at the very least, in this deal, but they didn't do that. So that's why I'll give them like a B minus. If the goal is to get AD, this is a good start, I guess. But yeah, this trade can go from a B minus to like a C minus D if they don't get AD, in my opinion, because regardless of how Trae Young has been this season, he was your franchise player. He's a guy that was a perennial third-team All-NBA when he's healthy. And I know the smaller guards are kind of on the decline in the NBA, and we've seen this a couple of different times, whether it's a Ja Morant and other guys, but I think that there is some value to Trae Young that you could have got at least another draft pick, at least a second rounder, for God's sakes. There's guys that are perennially on the bench that get off for like 2 second rounders. You couldn't get 1 second rounder?
When it comes to the future of the deal for Atlanta, I'm not going to judge it if they don't get Anthony Davis in any type of trade. I think this trade will be judged more in the assuming they don't make this Anthony Davis trade. Now, if they do, then we can judge it then. But if they don't, we have to kind of wait until the offseason, because McCollum's contract, it being an expiring deal, is going to free up some money they will be able to use that money on potential free agents. So I don't think we can fully judge it until the start of next season and what Atlanta does with the assets they still have and what they do with the cap space that they could acquire in the offseason if they don't make another trade, or if they do get off the McCollum contract and everything. And for Washington, I understand why you make this move, because what else are you doing? At the same time, it's like where you're basically locking yourself into a play-in spot. At the very least, you're not even locking there, but like that's sort of your ceiling right now. It is a play-in spot. I'm like, okay, hey, if you're happy, like it's not like they've made the play-in or the playoffs in forever. So if you're happy with the play-in spot, then more power to you there. Like, you gotta figure out how to build around this guy, because he's going to need a fair amount of help. Alex Sarr's been playing really well for them. I have liked his game. He's
been their best player.
They have another young guard, and I hope that he continues. Trey Johnson has been playing. He's a rookie. He's been playing very well for them. Like, they got some pieces, and I think this is why some Washington fans might be like, oh, why don't we just continue to give the young guys a shot? Like, you got to get good players in there at some point. It can't just be, hey, let's just continue to just play all these rookies and hope that one of these guys ends up kind of really, really breaking out. I mean, McCollum was still leading that team in scoring, like, despite these young players and everything. Like, McCollum was still the reason they were, winning some of these games. And Trae Young's a better player than CJ McCollum, so he's gonna help them, assuming he plays at all this season. Kaishan George is the other player that's been playing well for them. And you put them around Trae. The hope is he elevates them, and then he makes them better by the time they hit 23, 24. And then by that point, Trae's probably not on the team anymore. And now you have a team full of still relatively young guys who have blossomed a little bit over the couple of years with Trae. And they are a good team by that point. Like, that's the hope. We'll see if it pans out for them.
It's going to be interesting. They're 10-26 right now. I would say that a reasonable goal for them would be, let's get to 30 wins. I think 30 wins a week ago would have been impossible for the Washington Wizards. So I think that 30 wins is a reasonable goal. If they want to go higher, 40 wins, that would get them into play in contention, but I don't see that I don't see them winning 30 more games this season. But to say we're going to win 20 more games this season, we're going to go 30-52, which means that they're going to win 20 out of their next 45 games. So I think that is reasonable for them to aim for that type of goal.
Do they want 30 wins? I feel like they want to tank. And
yeah. I mean, that's why they got Trae Young, because Trae Young is currently out, so they don't have to worry about. But I'm saying, if Trae Young is on the court, then yeah, you can go for 30 wins. But yeah, they probably don't, because this draft class is looking like immaculate. But we've seen over the last couple of seasons that the team that loses a lot and tanks a lot doesn't usually get the first overall pick. It's usually the team that is around 30 wins that gets that first overall pick a lot of times.
Well, they're not going to get the first overall pick because Adam Silver is going to rig it. So a team that's in, more higher contention will get the first overall pick. Like the Warriors will get the first overall pick if they somehow don't make the playoffs.
They're an 8th seed.
So are the Mavericks.
The Clippers are gonna get the first overall pick.
Oh, good. I hope the Clippers do get the first overall pick. That'd be great. Guess who has the Clippers pick?
Exactly.
Clippers ain't got a first pick.
That's why I would love it. Because that's the team that's gonna benefit Adam Silver the most is if the Thunder get another first round pick.
I would love that. Josh saying Trae wanting to go to the Wizards is like Austin Theory wanting to go back to Evolve. I mean, Austin Theory would be better off in Evolve. Then I don't have to see him so much.
I mean, I like Austin Theory. I'm a fan of Austin Theory. I see the vision of the vision. Mm-hmm. Him and Logan Paul are going to be world tag team champions. That's the team that's going to dethrone the Usos, and then they'll lose to the Lucha Brothers at WrestleMania.
Are they going to put the Lucha Brothers together? I feel like they don't care to do that.
Probably not. It's probably be Rey Mysterio and Penta, and they called them the Lucha Brothers. They called them the Lucha Cousins.
Lucha Unk. Lucha
Uncle nephew.
Lucha
Bloodline. Let's go.
That's what they should go. Dragon Lee is there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going on my
instead
Austin
of the
Theory
one
rant.
they put up the
Hermanos Lucha. Okay, all right.
There we go.
El Bloodline. What is Bloodline? What's blood?
We just
in
need
Spanish?
a whole bunch of nicknames for this group of luchadors.
Roman's gonna come back just so pissed. He's gonna throw You're gonna throw Ray like you did Dom during the pandemic. Just toss his ass. All right, Lucha Bloodline would definitely be something. I'm not going on my Austin Theory rant. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
It's not worth it.
He's there. He's just there. Anything else NBA you wanna get to? Anything else going on in the league?
Spurs are really good, and
Are
Jeremy
they?
might be right that they are better when Wemby comes off the bench. When Wemby comes off the bench, like I was like looking at I watched the first half. I had it on the second screen as I'm watching Dynamite. I'm like, oh, this is going well for us. Then Wemby came in. I was like, God damn it! I was like, it's over.
It's just a different lineup again, because then he's playing against bench players, and like the Lakers, one, they're missing two of their top three players. The last game against the Spurs
Last night, yeah,
but the Lakers bench like doesn't really exist even when they're fully healthy anyway.
No.
So
but we're extra depleted if we don't have these two.
Yeah. So you bring Wemby against these guys. It's like, yeah, of course, this is a wrap. The Spurs are a weird team. Like, they're obviously very good. I'm not gonna take anything away from them. I do think because they beat the Thunder, people are kind of talking about them more than they're 3-4 since that Christmas Day game. Like, they've actually lost more than they've won since that game, and
the top half of the West has been struggling as of late. Like, it's not just us.
The Thunder are terrible.
It's not just me. It's the Lakers saying it. The Thunder have not been good the last. 10
we
games.
suck.
The Spurs, like you said, have lost 3 of the last 4. The Nuggets dropped down below us before last night's game. I think they split like 5. I think they were 500 over the last 10 games. Really, like, it was kind of the Timberwolves and the Rockets have been way more consistent than the top 4 teams in the West over the last 2 weeks.
The Rockets are now without Sengun. They just lost to the Trailblazers last night.
Yeah.
So they, and without Sengun, that's tough for them. The Timberwolves have been playing well. Credit to them. They've been playing well. It's December, January basketball. That's the way I'm looking at it. Of all the time that, like, basketball, I don't want to say it's meaningless, because it's not meaningless, but of all the time where basketball like hits the downswing during the regular season, it's always late December, early January. Like, go back in history and look when like teams like good teams are good, start to kind of hit a little bit of a wall. It's always around this time. And then around the All-Star break, which is early February, that's when it'll start to pick up again. Like, after the All-Star break, it'll start to pick up. OKC has been terrible his last few weeks. We got lucky to beat Utah last night. I don't think this is a hot take, but you're online, you're on Twitter, all this fun stuff, and you read the takes every day, right? And everybody reacts to what they see in the moment, which is fair. What else are you gonna react to outside of what you're watching in the game? I'm fully aware that I do this same thing. I try not to put it so much on Twitter, just because I think it's not healthy, and I think there's too many idiots out there. But y'all should see my Texas Sammer, because I'm over everything when I'm texting him. He wakes up to like 30 text messages from me, and it's just all, this team's trash, trade everybody. Like, it's not good. But I'm in the heat of the moment, and I'm texting my friend about this stuff. So, but when I read this stuff online, like, I feel like this is how people, and maybe they're just venting as well. And if that's the case, I can admit it. But I feel like they're not, because they really go hard with this stuff. My point here is reacting to the moment and like not realizing sometimes that it's a long season, it's a bigger picture, and you kind of have to put that into perspective. Like, yeah, OKC sucks right now. They're not playing good basketball. They got blown out by Charlotte. I don't know how that happens at home. They lost a tough one against Phoenix, but they blew an 18-point lead Yeah, they blew an 18-point lead in that game. That's still a game like you shouldn't lose. Obviously, the Spurs losses.
And Phoenix been beating a lot of the good teams in the West.
Oh, Phoenix plays hard.
They're a lot of fun. Like I would say,
Yeah.
the two most fun teams over the last month and a half have been the Suns and the Nets.
Phoenix plays hard. 100%. They've played us tough in all the games this season. So it wasn't like super surprising that they beat us in Phoenix. It was just like, all right, we were up 18. Like, let's not blow that lead. Come on now. But last night against Utah, they were up 20 and they blew that lead, and they needed basically a big fourth quarter and Shea hitting a game tying shot at the buzzer to go to overtime and then to win. So like, they're not playing well right now. I don't fully get the like, oh, trade J-Dub, trade Chet, the entire team sucks, like we're clearly not a super team. Like, were people way too high on this team when they probably shouldn't? Yeah, but that's what's going to happen when you start the season 25-1 or whatever. I try to keep in perspective that Dub's been back for about a little over a month now. Maybe not even, because I feel like he came back in mid-December. So he hasn't been back that long. His wrist was completely tore up. You really need your wrist to do a lot of things in basketball. So he's had to relearn how to kind of do everything with his wrist. He had no offseason. He had no training camp. He had no preseason. He had no early games to get into. Like, that's what he's basically doing right now. So I try to keep that in perspective when it comes to him. Now, are there things that I would like to change with the offense and things that they could do better? Yes. Like, I'm watching. I'm like, we could maybe not do this, not do that. But guys are still kind of finding their role as everybody gets healthy. It feels like Shea is taking a little bit of a step back to try to empower others when, like, why don't you just take 40 shots a game, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? You're the MVP of the league. It'll be okay if you take all of these shots. No one's going to complain if you take 40 shots a game. But it feels a little short-sighted and unnecessary anger to just be mad at, oh, the team sucks, and trade everybody after a loss or two or after a rough patch. It's just, let's keep in perspective things here. Like you were saying, and hopefully fans notice, is Spurs lost a couple of games they probably shouldn't have lost. Houston's struggling a little bit right now. Again, they got Sengun injured, so a little bit more understandable. Denver was losing some games before Jokic got hurt. Now they're playing just fine without Jokic, so clearly he has a super team around him, and he should never be the MVP, and we should redact all of his previous MVPs.
Thank you. Been saying that for years. I feel vindicated right now how well they're playing. Like, come on, everybody was just bending over backwards. Oh my God, this is amazing. I'm sick of this. I will say this every time he's brought up. He only plays on one side of the court. Is anyone watching him when he's on defense? He is a traffic cone. He don't play no type of defense.
He's a really good offensive player, though.
Great. No, not even a really good offensive player. He's one of the greatest offensive players of all time. That is why no one, except for me, brings up that he is a traffic cone on defense.
It's a rough patch for the Thunder right now. They got to figure it out, because that's no excuse. Like, you got to beat some of these teams that you've lost to, but. There's also a perspective when it comes to this stuff. I've been very calm this year, regular season, SP3. I think people should be very proud of me, of how calm I've been in the regular season.
I think it comes with the championship. The championship
100%.
keeps you at ease a bit, because you know what they can do when that time of the year comes around. Like me, I've been more kind of stressed about the regular season because we've looked so inconsistent and bad on defense that I'm just like, okay, we got to make some type of trade. We need some type of defense in some possible way to get to this team so we can improve in some kind of way. But I will hold. We're beating the teams that we're supposed to beat. At least we're doing that now. At least over the last week or so, we're beating the teams we're supposed to beat, and then we get demolished by teams like the Spurs, who are actually good. So,
yeah, this is gonna sound a little cocky and arrogant. I apologize for that. When you're not the champs, there is far more stress on the regular season. Like, Because last year I was far more stressed during the regular season as well, and then the playoffs were a whole different level. But yeah, this year it's like as long as we get the 1 seed, that's basically what I'm paying attention to now, which looked like a foregone conclusion like 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden it's not. So now I'm just like, all right, just win enough to get the 1 seed, and all these other teams need to lose enough so we keep the 1 seed. That's where we need to be.
I am glad that my powers of jinxing basketball teams has worked, because ever since I said that the Knicks are the favorite to win the Eastern Conference, they have not looked good until yesterday when they got a win. But they have not looked good in the last 2 weeks ever since I said that the Knicks are the favorite to win in the Eastern Conference. And man, I had a big smile on my face off that Pistons game. That Pistons game was like, see, this is exactly what I wanted to see. Thank you, guys. But I'm honestly, this is not jinxing. This is my honest opinion, because you've heard me say this a couple of times now. Boston Celtics, y'all. Boston Celtics, man. Boston Celtics, yo. That is the problem from the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. Is the Boston Celtics on a down year are playing as good as anyone else in the Eastern Conference right now.
Yeah, the Celtics, I mean, Joe Mazzulla deserves a lot of credit. Jaylen Brown
he's my coach of the year right now.
Jaylen Brown deserves a lot of credit for like really stepping up when I don't know how many people thought he was going to make. And so this goes back to the short-sighted hot take stuff of go back and look at Jaylen Brown tweets from a year ago. I'm sure there were plenty of people like Jaylen Brown sucks, finals MVP, and he can't do anything. Like let Jason Tatum just run the offense and let Jason Tatum do.
I'm watching it right now on I'm trying to finish the Starting Five, the Netflix series, and that's making me go back and watch what happened last season. And he had so much on his plate with everything that happened to his mom, with his mom getting robbed, because they go into the like that whole robbery and how that affected him, and all the people like in his ear talking about he didn't deserve that the NBA Finals MVP, and all the stress that he was going through last season. Like I feel for the guy. Like the Starting Five series, I suggest anyone who wants to like get a new player that they like in the NBA, that is a great series to watch, because I have a greater appreciation for Jaylen Brown, for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They followed him. He's like one of the stars of this season. Even someone that's been in the league for a long time, like James Harden. See, James Harden is hilarious. He might be one of the funniest basketball players of all time. Like seeing him on Starting Five, and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is hilarious. Kevin Durant's been hilarious because he is. Yes, he's a self-admitted troll. Yeah. Like he literally was talking about all him going on his Twitter and answering people. He was like, "Oh, I'm hurt right now. This is like fuel. This gets me up in the morning answering these idiots who've never done anything in their life, and they're going to tell me about playing basketball." Yo, and then they show him talking trash to Gary Payton, who's in the crowd. He's like, "I'm trying to get that fire inside of these old heads." I was like, "He's not playing, KD. What is you were just an irritant. He's an instigator and a troll at heart." And then they did like separate confessionals, but he's like saying they're talking about James leaving Brooklyn, and then they cut to KD. He was like, "Yeah, ask him about that. Ask him why he ruined that. Why he left." I was like, he is a menace. I love this guy now.
Kevin Durant would be. I'd like him a lot more if, not for old wounds and everything, which have healed a little bit. A championship helps that. But yeah, I would like him a lot more because he is a very funny guy, and the trolling stuff is very good. I got to respect it, even though I'm like, don't you have better things to do? You're one of the most famous basketball players in the world. Why are you just online trolling with all these people? But I also... I do find him very funny.
is because like a lot of these players, like they did a whole episode about love and like their relationships out off the court. So they show Shea with his wife and his kid. It was nice, like wholesome. He's a family man and all of that. They show how him and his girl was with him on like draft night. They went back and showed that. They show James, he's got a girlfriend now that looks like an actress that was in Power recently, but I don't think it's no relation. But they show like stuff like when the meme that he made with his girlfriend when they were at the wedding and his girlfriend caught the bouquet and then he had the face on and then his girlfriend's like, but his ass is the one who was always bringing up marriage and stuff like that. It was nice like that. They show Tyrese Halliburton and his girlfriend pressuring him to ask him to get married and stuff like that. KD, he was not in that episode because he don't have a love life. Yeah. This dude is just basketball and trolling. That is what he does. Basketball, trolling, and his mom, and that's his family. That's it. That's the only things that they have shown about KD off the court is he trolls and he has his mom, and his mom is his greatest person in the world.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the real MVP, Mama Durant. Yeah, that's always been the not knock, but like the joke on Kevin Durant is like, you ain't got no one to go home to. You go home to your phone. Like that's it. I'm always stunned when I learned that like James Harden has like relationships and a kid and everything. I'm like,
yeah,
what? James Harden? Yeah. He's out here.
His
like when Luka,
his kid looks just like him too.
Like when Luka had to step away and they're like, oh, his wife's pregnant with their second child. I was like, they had a first one? What? When did this happen? Like, it's amazing how public this stuff is, but also how they're able to keep certain things private. But yeah, I haven't watched all of Starting Five. I have seen various clips with obviously a lot of the Shea stuff and everything. And I know it's not coming back for next year, which is unfortunate. But yeah, the Jaylen Brown stuff, going back to him though, and like everybody wanted him like gone, and now it's like, oh, is he in MVP conversations type of thing? That's why I can't be short-sighted when it comes to this stuff. I have to realize like there's a bigger picture, and the dub hate is kind of insane right now. Like I'll read the comments on stuff because after the game yesterday, he was just like, this might sound cocky, but we're humans and we go through a rough stretch, but for some reason, like because we've been winning so much, like there's just more attention on it. Like that seems like a normal thing to say to me. And then everyone in the comments is like, this guy sucks. This guy does sound cocky. And it's like, well, it's because y'all talk so much and everything. I'm like, what? Huh? Why? This feels like a very normal statement of, hey, we're humans, we lose, but because we've won so much, people put a bigger microscope on, which is true. It's a factual statement. Why do you think like the Spurs are being crowned as like this real threat to the Thunder? Again, I don't disagree with it, but they're being crowned as like, oh, the Thunder better watch out for the Spurs. The Spurs are here quicker. It's because they won the championship when we're 25-1, and then all of a sudden they lost these games, and it's like, they beat the Thunder. Like, oh man, they beat the greatest team of all time, or the talks of the greatest team of all time. It's like, people are looking at it bigger, and as you said, like these guys are human. It's a rough stretch. They've played a lot of basketball over the last few years. It's gonna happen. It's tough to be mentally and physically up for all of these games, but the hate really gets, it's like, man, y'all got to find something else better to do. The biggest thing we ever missed out on in social media was Michael Jordan not having Twitter, because that would have been some shit.
Him, Reggie Miller, and Gary Payton on Twitter. Imagine, and Charles Barkley. on Twitter. Imagine those four on Twitter. Oh. They would have been the biggest trolls of everyone.
I'll never forget, like Kobe wasn't full, like Twitter was just kind of coming into prominence when Kobe was unfortunately like kind of on the downside of his career. But I'll never forget the amnesty that tweet after Mark Cuban was like, oh, they should amnesty Kobe and get off that contract. And then he dropped like 50 against the Mavericks. And then he's like, amnesty that. I was like, oh, fuck. That's good shit. Yeah, Kobe would have been another guy who he wouldn't have stopped talking shit. And it would have been.
Yeah, if Twitter comes out in the early 2000s, Kobe and Shaq on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. They would have been really passive aggressive.
Yo, they would have been beefing on Twitter. It would have been there. That's where we would have seen the beef. Instead of like reporters and media telling us about the beef, it would have been Twitter telling us about the beef.
Shaq would be dropping his diss tracks and everything. Yeah, it would have been something if those guys were on Twitter. That's one thing I do like about Shea is like he just stays off that stuff. He does his little like Instagram posts, like poems or raps or whatever, and I'm like whatever on those. But yeah, he just stays off of that. I was like, oh, good. We have a superstar who just doesn't. I'm sure he sees it, but he's just not gonna inundate himself on that. That's where I'm like a Dub. Dub gets too much into it, and Dub's too much online. I was like, you got to do something else, Dub. Stop it. Go dribble better.
Especially right now, he don't need to be online.
No, and I'm sure he's probably taking more of a break now because like none of it's good. But I also feel like he's like bookmarking stuff of like.
Oh yeah,
all right.
I'm gonna get back to that.
Yeah. When we're winning another championship, let me tell you how you got. Because here's the thing with like the like negative takes is one, it's always easier to skew negative. But you're more likely to be proven right if you're negative because only one team wins a championship. So you're taking a calculated risk of if I'm just negative the entire time, like, well, the only way I'm going to get proven right is if we win a title. And like, if we win a title, then all right. If you're a fan of that team, it's going to be like, okay, well, we won a title. I feel good about that. But if they don't win a title, then it looks like you're proven right of like, see, I told you this guy sucks. I told you we should have traded this guy and all of that. And if you're a fan of another team and you're just like dissing the player the entire time, again, you're taking a calculated risk. Well, it's like, all right, they're a really good team, but one injury and all of a sudden they're no longer the team that can win the title. So I'll just talk shit and I got a pretty good chance of that coming true.
And maybe this is a good transition point to get us to wrestling, unfortunately for some people in the chat. Yes, fans can be very cruel and lean on the negativity like Jeremy said. But that doesn't mean you go and spend a whole interview complaining about the fans complaining, CM Punk. Dude, like, oh my God. Like, I've only seen clips of that, and it's just 90% of him just complaining about fans complaints. It's like, dude, don't you know that you're doing the same thing you're complaining about? You're complaining about the fans, and there's no vindication. There's no, oh, let's win a championship, and then we can shut the fans up like it is in the NBA. Like all wrestling is a subjective art form. So the fans have opinions on stuff. And if the fans are leaning into negativity, maybe you should take that as some type of acknowledgement that there was some type of problems. But the whole complaint about the Gunther and John Cena thing, I really feel like WWE within internally, they don't understand the boos. Like I said it that night on December 13th, I was like, that fan reaction has nothing really to do with the result. And Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement match really vindicated me in that. And then of course, unfortunately, someone who is a colleague, I guess, TC, doubled down on that with his tweet. But the whole reason why people were booing that night is because the retirement tour was booked awfully. That is why the fans booed and why the fans expected or wanted or then were upset that they did not get what they wanted with John Cena winning his matchup. Because when you have a retirement tour that is done well, like Hiroshi Tanahashi, who wrestled more matches in 2025 than he has since he was a young lion in the early 2000s, if that is booked well, then yes, the fans can be in the building. Almost 50,000, 46,913 in the Tokyo Dome. Their first sellout in years. The most people in the Tokyo Dome since Antonio Inoki's retirement in 1998. And each and every one of them wanted to see Tanahashi get the win. But when he didn't get the win, they did not boo. They did not get upset at Gato. They just cheered Tanahashi and they tribute him for the next hour, and no one left as Tanahashi was on the Tanahashi float around Tokyo Dome, and no one on Twitter and social media was complaining about it. You should understand, it should get through your thick skull that the boos that happened on December 13th had nothing to do with the result of just that night.
The John Cena stuff is very funny to me because I find most things very funny. But people are like, oh, we're still talking about it. And if he just won, would we still be talking about it? Well, we should, because it's John Cena's retirement match. So if he won, yeah, we should still be talking about John Cena's retirement match. The reason we're talking about it now is because we're mad that he didn't win, and we're debating if he should have won. We're not debating of like, oh, was this good? Was this bad? I mean, it is, was this good? Was this bad? But like, was it a good match? Was this the right call? Like, that's what we're talking about on this. Had he just won, the talking point would be like, man, remember John Cena's last match? And he won, and he went out so great. As King Sable, like, we still talk about Sting's retirement match and how great of a retirement match that is, and how great of a retirement run that was, and everything. Like, saying like, oh, well, we're still talking about that. That's the whole, like, any publicity is good publicity. And it's like, I don't think that's actually true, that any publicity is good publicity. Like, it's, you know, there are good things or there are bad things that you can get publicized for, and it's not a good look for you or the company. I do agree with one of Punk's points of like fans talking themselves into, oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And then when it doesn't, it's like, oh, well, they screwed me out of this. Now, the flip side to that is don't fucking say break down the walls and then give you no Chris Jericho, because you can't explicitly not advertise, but tease things like that and then not deliver on it and try to say it was Stranger Things, which fuck off. You can't quite do that. If people are going to talk themselves into, oh, Chris Jericho's going to be here, Chris Jericho, the TNA thing. I've seen people tweet about like Chris Jericho might be at the TNA AMC premiere. It's like, okay, if you're going to talk yourself into that without any like actual evidence, and then he doesn't show up and you're going to be mad about that, that's on you. If TNA is going to come out and say, we're leading a new era of TNA, can you break the AMC code? We are going to go into a new TNA millennium, and who will be breaking down the walls to establish themselves in TNA and go across the line, and then Chris Jericho doesn't show up. Then it's like, okay, yeah. Who's going to be on the list for the AMC premiere in TNA?
Who's
then if he doesn't show up?
Pain? Who's gonna make some pain? Who will prove to be the alpha? Who will...
then it's like, all right. Yeah. And if he doesn't show up, you're like, okay. That's on you guys. But if there's no actual indication that he's going to be there and you're just fantasy booking in your head of like, oh, he's going to be there. Why would he not be back at WWE? Why isn't he returning to AEW? Clearly he's going to be on a TNA show. And then he doesn't show up. Like, well, that's your fault. Like, come on. Yeah, people do fantasy book like just to get themselves mad and everything. Yeah. Like, I do agree with that. And I do agree with Punk's point on that. And they do it with television shows as well. Like, oh, I think this should happen. I think that should happen. And then it doesn't. And it's like, well, I'm mad that this isn't what happened with this show. It's like, well, that's kind of your fault. Just react to whatever you're seeing. When it comes to Cena's retirement, we were reacting to what we were seeing, not, hey, I thought he should have won. Again, I said it. I didn't care if he won. Do I think he should have won? Yes. But he lost. That's fine. Okay, what's the follow-up going to be? Can they build off of this? And the Gunther stuff, I didn't love that segment on Monday. I don't know how you felt about it. I didn't love that on Monday.
I thought it was just fine. It was fine as setup for AJ and Gunther, but I did say on Rated Raw Review on Trill Heat, I was like, this Gunther act is getting long in the tooth. Like we need the next. What is he gonna do next? Like the match with AJ should be the end of this whole arc of him bragging about just John Cena's loss and retirement and stuff like that. And we need to move on to him having another goal, whether that's entering into the Royal Rumble, going after the World Heavyweight Championship, going after the undisputed WWE Championship. You need something.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get there with that after the AJ Styles match. I don't have a whole lot of faith. I didn't have a whole lot of faith when they gave Gunther the victory. And that's why I was like, just have John Cena win. Send the fans home happy. Instead, you sent the fans home mad at Triple H. Triple H is getting the real heat out here. That's the true star of the show as it goes with him. All right, the poll, everybody. I assume I know what this says, but let's get the confirmation here. Should I review AEW Dynamite? 82% of you said yes. That's fair. That's fair. I don't disagree with it because it was the last match on the television show. It was the main event of the television show. I was just wondering if they're, because it's lights out and it's unsanctioned and it doesn't count, is there a loophole there? The ITW GM, my lovely wife, said, I think you should review because the main event was the last segment regardless of being sanctioned. So there you go. She agrees with the chat that I should review the show.
She is a proper GM, unlike Aldis and Pierce.
Fair. Yeah, she's the best. So she agrees that with the chat and that I should review the show. So AEW Dynamite last night, it was headlined by the lights out match between. Let's go with the thumbnail here. It was the return once again of Andrade El Idolo, and as the Don Callis family gets even stronger, because not only is Andrade back, but Jake Doyle, aka Jake Something, has made his way. He's made his way to AEW, and he is also with the Don Callis family. What did you make of the video with Jake Something before the show, taking out Jet Speed, revealing himself and everything, and then later on in the show, Andrade returning?
I'm so happy for Jake Something. He is someone or something that I have said deserved more than his whole entire time in TNA. I thought that TNA had grossly underutilized him. He had a couple of great matches, whether it was with Josh Alexander or, his time when he was with Cody Deaner, and he was like the standout kind of powerful person. He had the whole storyline with Cody Deaner and his gang at one point. And I always saw him and I was like, this guy looks like a superstar. Why aren't you pushing him in the main event scene? Why is he going after the TNA World Championship? Why is he in this trios match on the pre-show of Slammiversary losing to Enzo Amore? Like, I'm like, what are you doing with him? And, see his everything that he was able to accomplish in DPW and really being one of the faces of that independent promotion and the rise of them becoming one of the top independent promotions. There was always more that they needed to do with Jake Something in TNA, and I knew that one of these big companies would get him because he just looks like an absolute superstar. And placing him in a place like AEW, he looks totally different from really anybody else. No one has the physique or the look of Jake Something. I like the fact that he's joining the Don Callis family, because I know there's people that are upset that oh my god, another person joining the Don Callis family. I am sorry, this is the funniest bit in all of wrestling, that the Don Callis family is the 98 Yankees. They are just signing everyone. They have unlimited cap space, and he just keeps signing every single free agent in the game, to the point that Don Callis has 14 members of this faction. This is amazing for me. This is the funniest thing ever. I'm sorry. It's my favorite thing about AEW is thinking about who AEW is gonna sign and how they're gonna join the Don Callis family. It's hilarious.
It's come back around for me of, okay, he has a Don Callis family. It was good. I did compare him to Doc Rivers because I didn't think he knew how to utilize talent. He let Powerhouse Hobbs go because he didn't pay attention to the contract and everything. But then like he acquired a good talent and everything. I was like, all right, this is a strong group. And then they added people. I was like, all right, this is like too much. What are we doing? Adding all of these people. And now it is to the point of like, okay, you know what? Add everybody. Fuck it. Let's just go full bore at this point. Like,
I want this to be like a 50-50 split of Don Callis family members and the rest of the AEW roster. That's where I'm at this point. But I think that he's a good fit, and the tag team with Mark Davis makes a whole lot of sense. Mark Davis came in as a tag team specialist. He was supposed to be, get this big push with him and Kyle Fletcher as part of Aussie Open at a time when they signed with AEW. I thought they were like top 3, top 4 tag team in all of the world. But Mark Davis had the injury. In lieu of his injury, Kyle Fletcher started off in the singles division, changed up his whole look, had the whole rivalry and turn on Will Ospreay, and that has elevated him to be the breakout star of 2025 and look like a bona fide main eventer going into 2026 and someone who should become the AEW world champion one day. So Davis was kind of left on his own, and you could have went with him as a single star, but he's a little older. He's a veteran in the business, and he has his specialty in the tag team division. So placing him with someone like Jake Something, who has also excelled in different tag teams, whether it's Cody Deaner in TNA, most especially with Speedball Mike Bailey in places like DPW and on the independent scene, he's someone that can really work in the tag team division. And it's a team that we don't really have. Like, it was kind of, we've had different teams that kind of filled that spot, whether it's Gates of Agony or Butcher and Blade, or more recently the Hurt Syndicate as that kind of bigger brute tag team. But I don't think there's anyone as big as Mark Davis and Jake Something. Those two guys together just look like a formidable opponent for anyone on the roster. And compared to teams like the Young Bucks and Jet Speed, they just look overpowering how they can just dominate that whole scene, and giving the Don Callis family a legitimate tag team, full-time tag team, instead of like two top single stars coming together as a tag team. It makes a lot of sense to kind of put those two guys together, and I think they can make a difference in the tag team division if AEW goes in that direction. But the real big one is Andrade, who really looks poised to be the international superstar of the year. Whether it's in New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of my most anticipated matches right now coming up is February 11th, Gabe Kidd versus Andrade El Idolo over in New Japan Pro Wrestling at the New Beginning in Osaka, and him being a part of the United Empire, who seem like they're going to be in a top program throughout the rest of the year, feuding with Unbound Company, and then the Will Ospreay whole storyline that he has going on with Callum Newman. There's a lot that he can do in United Empire, and he doesn't have to be there full time. He can have more of a Takeshita schedule, where Takeshita worked most of the big shows last year for New Japan Pro Wrestling while still being an active part of the AEW roster. And I could see that for Andrade this year as well. I know he's going to go back to Mexico, and he could have some big time matches, especially at the anniversary show or one of the weekly Venice Spectaculars for CMLL against the guys like Soberano, who's already called them out and says that he wants to work with him, with Mystico, who's the top draw, and I would say in all of wrestling now that John Cena has retired. The top draw, the number one draw in the business today is Mystico. Check out, I got my interview with Mystico. It's going to be dropping on Sports Illustrated on Friday, by the way. But that's a big time matchup. Andrade versus Mystico. You got Andrade versus Masquerada Dorada. You got Andrade versus Hechicero. I'm just ready to see Andrade and CMLL. I'm excited for that as much as I'm excited for what he's going to do in AEW, where this is the third time. Hopefully it's the charm, and we can see Andrade propel himself into the main event picture, because the Don Callis family has 3 guys that would not look out of place in any main event, whether it be on a Dynamite, Collision, or even on a pay-per-view, with Konosuke Takeshita, with Kyle Fletcher, and with Kazuchika Okada. And now you got a 4th, in my opinion, with Andrade. So I'm hoping that he can get a big-time prominent role on AEW television, whether that's reigniting his whole storyline with Kenny Omega after attacking him at the 6th anniversary last year, or it's racing someone like a Hangman Adam Page or Swerve Strickland, guys that he really didn't have very memorable matches or feuds with in his first run with AEW. There's a whole fresh kind of lineup of people that you can see Andrade again. So I'm very excited for Andrade not only being in the Don Callis family, but just in general being a part of the upper card to main event scene in AEW now.
All right, I'm going to get yelled at by Don Callis. Hello, Tony Khan. Is there a salary cap for AEW groups? It feels like Don Callis is circumventing the cap in some way with these signings. I feel like Don Callis will quote tweet me and call me some type of a moron around here. But I need to know. I need to know if Don Callis can continue to get away with all these. Maybe it's like baseball. Maybe there is no salary cap. But I feel like we're going to get a good answer regardless. Either Don Callis is circumventing the cap, or we learn there is no salary cap. And then, if I'm other people, I would start signing all this talent. What's wrong with all these other groups? Then, we got to figure this out. I'm out here to get answers, folks. Okay, if there is no cap, Don Callis, I'm gonna go on his good side here. Don Callis is the smartest man in AEW. There we go.
You should be like, step your game up at Stokely Hathaway, at John Moxley. Anyone who is a manager or has a group, they should be signing up a whole bunch of free agents like Don Callis is. Don Callis, like I've seen comparisons, Don Callis got the Wu-Tang Clan. Like that is he too. He got more members than the Wu-Tang Clan. That is something to strive for. Like I am a member of the Don Callis family, so there's actually 15 members of the Don Callis family, because I am here to push the Don Callis family agenda. But going back to Jake Doyle, Jake something, I wasn't too sure with the name. I know that's his actual real name. I did like the Jake something name in my opinion, but the whole fallout of that whole thing with his contract expiring on January 1st and TNA still promoting him on promotional materials for AMC, like I don't think this is the last person that Tony Khan's gonna sign, because TNA, I don't understand their like. I appreciate everything that Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy have done for the business. I think that the Hardys are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And last year, they had one of their greatest years of all time. They should be credited for what TNA not all that, for what TNA was able to accomplish in getting that TV deal with AMC. They were the number 1 draws in not only TNA wrestling, they were the number 1 draws in tag team wrestling in 2025. No doubt. I thought, and I was on Twitter basically supporting the fact that PWI gave them number 1 on their tag team list for 2025, because PWI leans more towards accolades and achievements, and they got it all. They were TNA World Tag Team Champions. They were NXT Tag Team Champions. They won tag team titles in House of Glory and other independent scenes, putting over other young teams, having that big matchup with the Dudleys that drew all those people to Bound for Glory. All of that to say, Matt Hardy has CTE. I'm pretty sure, with all the things that he has been saying and the fact that their whole big pitch for TNA going to AMC is not to tell friends, like, you don't know what's going on in TNA. TNA is about to take a step up. We're going to have the better stories. We're going to be up there. TNA is going to rise to prominence and be higher than it's ever been. Their whole thing of pushing TNA on AMC is TNA is going to be number 2. TNA is going to beat AEW for fan perception. What are you thinking? Like, why are you setting yourself up for failure? And I understand, I know why. It's because you signed a deal with WWE. But, like, you don't have to be that obvious, though.
Matt Hardy just says stuff. I like Matt, but he just says stuff. That's what he does. On the subject of Andrade, I hope he's in for the run that he could be in for. I also know how Andrade works and moves, and it'd be cool to get a lot of these matches, and all of a sudden we're seeing like one match a month out of him, and it's like, hey, why isn't Andrade doing this, this, and this? And come to find out, well, Andrade doesn't want to do stuff, or people don't want to do stuff with Andrade. So
I think Tony Khan has figured out that you just have to, if he doesn't have all this stuff for him, send him to Japan, have him do a tour and do Japan Pro Wrestling. Send him to Mexico, have him do some dates in Arena Mexico. I think that is going to be the way by Tony Khan might get the longest run we've seen from Andrade in any promotion this time around. I think that is the way. Just keep them busy in other promotions if you can't keep them busy in AEW.
I think that works until it doesn't work with Andrade. I got to see it to believe it with him. All this sounds very good on paper. It's like, oh, this is how you can do it. This is what we can do. And it's like, yeah, this makes sense. And then Andrade is like, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. Just,
He's like, I don't want to go to Mexico today. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. So that until I see it, I'm not gonna fully believe it. But I hope it does come to fruition, because there's a lot of stuff he can do, a lot of good stuff, a lot of new stuff that he can do. As far as Jake something goes, like, this is a really good signing for AEW. I think there's a lot of potential for him. The Don Callis family bit is very funny with him just getting all of the talent. The kind of drawback to this is that people are just going to get lost in the shuffle. And right now, if he's going to be in the tag team portion with Mark Davis, there's definitely opportunity for him. And, FTR coming out at the end of that segment is like, okay, so maybe we will get Mark Davis and Jake against FTR at some point. So being in the tag team division could be like a saving grace for them. But then you've got a guy like a Josh Alexander who is just kind of there in the group. Like, he has matches. They try to do stuff with him.
I think they've been pushing towards him being the basically like the biggest mark for the Don Callis family, because that's what his role has been as of late, where he's talking up the other members of the Don Callis family, calling people out for not being loyal to the Don Callis family. He was the one who reminded Swerve that the Don Callis family took him out and had that matchup with Swerve in Cardiff and stuff like that. And then he was the one who was promoting Kazuchika Okada and Takeshita in Wrestle Kingdom. So I like that role. I like that he's getting more mic time. They're finding something that makes him stand out within this group. But he is a guy that's just here to get rebounds for the team and to be a low post defender. He's not a guy that's going to be putting up the points. We got Okada to put up the points. We got Takeshita, who can make points all over the court. Kyle Fletcher is the young prospect who's the main superstar, who's going to be the face of the franchise for years to come. And now we got Andrade. We got a scorer. We got a fourth scorer. We got a fourth scorer who could easily be the number 2, number 3. I'm just saying, man, it worked for the Golden State Warriors in 2017, 2018.
No, they only had 3 scores. They didn't have 4.
To be fair, yes.
Yeah. And then it didn't work very long either. It didn't work as long as it should have.
It worked to get 2 championships, 3 finals appearances. I'm just saying.
It did work for that, but they had 3 scores. They did not have. And look, Don Callis has 3 scores right now, although they might be losing 1. So we'll see. Well, with that, with Josh, like, they're finding stuff for him, but also it's like, could he be doing more? Could he be doing different stuff out there? Maybe not. Like, he just doesn't feel on the pecking order as high as someone that, as a fan of Josh Alexander, you would kind of hope that he feels, because now, like, he is pushed down by Andrade. You've got Brian Cage has been hurt. I'm not throwing Brian Cage in there. Lance Archer was kind of always in that role of just big dude who can kind of beat people up but isn't going to win a whole lot. That was pre Don Callis family. Lance Archer, that's like his role. Yeah, Josh
and Lance Archer is like in his early to mid 40s. Like, What is he going to do in another company? And I think that Josh Alexander in AEW is really telling us that in TNA he was a big fish in a small pond, and now he's a fish in a larger pond, and he is a kind of more of a role player than he is like the face of the franchise like he was in TNA. Would I like more for him? Certainly. I think that Josh Alexander could be doing a lot more for them, and I hope that they find a different role where he can stand out within the Don Callis family. But I think that for now, he has a role as kind of one of the people that is getting mic time within the Don Callis family, because despite Takeshita and Okada being two of the top stars in the group, they aren't going to be cutting a lot of the promos for the group. It's going to be Callis, it's going to be Fletcher, and now you got a third with Josh Alexander.
I hope Josh Alexander continues to grow and get these opportunities on here. Yeah, he was a big fish in a small TNA pond, and now it's tougher to stand out in AEW when so much of your basis is I'm a really great wrestler, and everybody in AEW is a really great wrestler. But, could they have found something different for him? Could he have been in the C2 and had some standout matches on that type of thing, where because Don Callis family already had so many spots in the C2, it's like, well, we can't put Alexander in here as well to kind of be overshadowed by everything else that was going on. Oh, it is role based. Someone who likes Josh Alexander and saw the great work he did in TNA, it's like, could he be doing something differently? But you're right, he is getting good opportunities there, and maybe it'll continue, and maybe they will find something different for him. But that's kind of my worry with Jake Something is, could he be doing more if Don Callis just continues to bring in 300 people? Where does that put Jake Something? Right now, again, I like the spot for him. Tag team, Mark Davis, think that's a great duo. I have high hopes for that duo, and hopefully, they are utilized really strong. Maybe hey, SP3, I don't know if you know this. There's a trios division in AEW.
Yeah, they could do that. They have enough people where they could have a tag team, they could have a trio, they could have a couple of singles guys. So yeah, put Josh, Hechizero, and Lance as the trio and go after the trios titles.
Yeah, there's allegedly a trios division in AEW, to where you could probably do something with that division and those titles with the Don Callis family, because doesn't it feel like the ops are super long for those titles? That feels like a geek group right now. Like everybody just loses outside of Joe, and they won't do anything with Hobbs. He's got seemingly the tools and everything, and they want to make him out to be like a good player, but then they just never give him any big victories. I mean, Hook is Hook at this point. That killed Hook last night.
Was basically a handicap matchup.
Yeah,
where Hobbs was the best part. I would say Hobbs was even better than Hangman and Swerve in that matchup. He was a beast, and it took them having to murder him with the double stomp dead eye. I was like, God damn, on cinder blocks? How are you blocking that? Like, what are we doing here? So like that, I want more for Powerhouse Hobbs, but as time goes on, it just seems like it's like slipping away, where that opportunity for him to kind of be a breakout star, that if they don't pull the trigger on it, then it's never going to happen.
Who's saying? King Potato saying Hobbs carried Hook. That implies Hook existed in this match. That
Hook will spend more time attacking Prince Nana than actually fighting Hangman and Swerve.
Hook was like running away and everything. I'm like, this dude's a bitch out here. What is this? I thought you were like, you're Hook. You're New York. You're supposed to be this tough guy. Yeah. Like, what is this? I don't want to say like they killed Hook, because that kind of implies like they had something for Hook, and I really don't think like they fully did. But man, this did nothing for Hook here. It's like, this was okay. All right. We see where you stand
But like they couldn't even
this group.
decide who they wanted him to be in the match. At one point, he does like the trap suplex on Swerve on the apron. He does the freaking like T-bone suplex on Hangman through the table and stuff. And then at another moment, he's running behind Hobbs so Hobbs can fight the guys for him. It was like weird. It was weird how they booked that. And then that, like I said earlier, that match did not feel like a lights out match. It wasn't worthy of that title, with the fact of this was the most tame lights out matchup I think that AEW has done.
Yeah, this definitely felt like we're gonna do it because we want to do a no DQ stipulation in some way. We literally just did a no DQ stipulation with the Tornado tag match, and we can't like go back to that, so we're just gonna call it lights out. But yeah, it wasn't like, it didn't really differentiate itself from any other like no DQ tornado tag street fight stipulation that they've done over the past few months. I feel like every single Dynamite has had some type of stipulation like this for months now, like 3-4 months. Like, it's been forever. It feels that there's always been some type of no DQ match on the show, and it seems like it's tag matches at this point either, or as well. But yeah, it definitely didn't seem super like they did the staple with the nuts, but like Kyle Fletcher did that, months ago. So he did tax in the dick as well. Yeah. Like, it's tough to, it's tough to, like, as the old saying goes, like, it's tough to top when you kind of do everything. And then when you do everything on a weekly basis, it kind of loses a little value on there. Like, it feels like you got to give it a break for a little bit. Because even during the Continental Classic, again, they were the women's tag match, the Big Bitches Brawl. It was, okay, here's our plunder match in the middle of all these singular classic no interference matches. Like, they were still doing that kind of stuff. Like, I would like them to just take a break for a few months at this point. Revolution is when you can do another no DQ match, but I don't need to see one for a while unless it like fits. But right now, I'm not sure like anything fits to where like you have to do something like that. Like, there's no real feud, and it's like, all right, what we have to do a no DQ.
And they're going to do something with the conglomeration and Death Riders because they're still feuding. That was objectively the worst thing on the show. And it's very rare that I ever say that about a timeless Tony Storm segment, but that match was not good. It was not good at all.
It's rough. Yeah. Rough.
I remember I want the best for Marina. I'm a huge Marina Shafir fan. I'm a huge fan of the MMA Four Horsewomen. I always have been a big fan of Shayna Baszler since the first time I saw her over in Stardom, and then her coming to WWE NXT. I was big into the whole Queen of Spades character and her rise to become the longest reigning NXT champion across her 2 reigns. Like, I loved her there. I wanted the best for her over in on the main roster. It never came to be, but I wanted her to beat Becky Lynch back at WrestleMania 36. And Ronda Rousey, I always say she's the Lord and Savior. Would have never main evented WrestleMania without Ronda Rousey. And Marina Shafir, I've seen a lot of potential in her role with the Death Riders, but now that they have her in an in-ring capacity, you can't be giving us performance like that. That whole performance, I won't even front. Like, I was just like, damn, I wanted you to get a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship. That made me change my mind, that match last night. I was like, you're not ready. And they're not even ready to give us a good finish. They just took the referee out of the ring and called for a DQ.
Yeah, that was like one of the weaker DQs of everything, because I'm not saying it happens often in AEW. Actually, it doesn't happen much at all. But of all the like DQ reasons, like getting pulled out of the ring, it's like, just throw them out. Like, why are you throwing out the entire match because of this? Tell these dudes, get the hell out of here. Toss them from ringside. Let the match continue. I think Marina is good. She obviously has her role in Death Riders and her look next to Moxley and everybody like is a strong presence. longer, and this match wasn't like super long or anything, but she's good in burst when it comes to in-ring stuff. Like trying to do sort of a longer match maybe isn't going to serve her well right now. Like she's good when it's not necessarily like a full-on squash, but where she's probably dominating a little bit more. Because like the Mina match wasn't like terrible or anything, but she showed a little bit more dominance in that.
Yeah.
And like also that wasn't the greatest match of all time either.
No.
But Marina kind of like selling and fighting from underneath a little bit. It's not really her strong suit. But you also just can't be running through everybody in the division. And this is why I think like the tag team actually works really well, because with her and Megan, like they can do a lot of that. And they can be presented as like two really strong, powerful women. But Megan, even though like she's Megan Bain, she actually does well enough to sell a little bit compared to Marina, where it doesn't look quite as good.
Yeah, she knows how to work kind of like a big man, basically. That's what Megan Bain does very well. And Marina Shafir, I thought the problem last night was her in-between stuff. Like her moves did not look good, but then her in-between stuff when she's kind of pantomiming and trying to taunt the crowd, it just came off-putting because she's not doing her moves properly. Like the whole 619 into the head scissors looked horrible. She wasn't able to grab onto the head. Then her different like suplexes and judo throws, they looked very sloppy in the matchup. It just didn't seem like they were on the same page. I thought Tony was Tony. It wasn't like a horrible Tony Storm performance. It was just a really bad performance on Marina's side that kind of just made the match fall apart. However, that's not the worst match I've seen this week, because Maxine Dupree's performance on Monday in Brooklyn was even worse. But still, it was it just wasn't. It didn't have the energy last night with Marina and then Tony. And then on top of that, they give us a horrible finish and this rivalry that I wanted done after Mixed Nuts Mayhem. Are we the only people that realize that the whole conglomeration and Death Riders thing should have been over in Blood and Guts, but then you peaked it at World's End and you're still doing this shit?
This felt like, as we talked about last week, of they caught something with Tony Storm and Orange Cassidy, and they're like, well, shit, now we have to keep this going. And instead of like transitioning into like something else that's not Death Riders, it's like, well, the conglomeration's still kind of feuding with the Death Riders, so we just got to keep it going with the Death Riders. It's like, no, you don't have to. You can just do something else with this stuff. But yeah, the match last week, as we talked about, felt very unnecessary. You mentioned reheating nachos. Like, I'm fine with Tony Storm versus Marina Shafir. That's a logical next point. But what are we getting next? I assume Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm against Marina and Claudio. In a 2-on-2 match, and then hopefully that's the end of it. Like we can't go anywhere. Oh, here's my pitch. SP3. You know I have the greatest pitches of all time. Orange Cassidy, Mina Shirakawa, Tony Storm, right? Trios. One, they should win the trios titles because those titles are meaningless. They should be intergender. But who are they going to face? Claudio Castagnoli, Marina Shafir, and the return of Ronda Rousey for the trios match.
Let's go! I'm here for it. Ronda Rousey joining the Death Riders. Come on, you want to give the Death Riders a new lease on life, to give them at least another year as a faction? You put Ronda Rousey in that faction. Imagine Ronda Rousey shitting on AEW and just being like, "This is not the graps that I love. This is not what I grew up. I like my 6-man tag because that reminds me of PWG, the real wrestling. You guys stole the identity of PWG." That's the type of promos I want from Ronda Rousey. Give me Ronda, give me Shayna, give me the MMA 4 horsewomen combining with the Death Riders.
I was gonna say Jessamine Duke is like a bit, because I don't think she wrestles anymore.
No, she doesn't wrestle anymore. Which, to be fair, she'd never really wrestle unless it was on NXT house shows.
Yeah. Shayna's still, active and would make some sense, but I also think like she's doing the NXT stuff where she could still like go down there and maybe working into a producer type of gig, and it feels like she's okay with that. Obviously, if she gets offered like an AEW role, I don't think she's gonna turn it down, especially if it's working with Marina. So that's why I went big. I went Ronda. I went the biggest name you could go with here. All right.
I'm here for it.
Sometimes
I'm here
I got the real ideas, and it's not full bit booking out here. Sometimes I can throw out some real legitimate ideas.
It's usually when you're with me, because when I watch you with Joel, it's like he brings out the worst of you, like the worst ideas from you. I think that you play to your audience. You play to whoever you're on screen with. You're trying to make a pitch that person will agree with. So that's why you went Ronda Rousey, and you knew I was in for that. I came up with Ronda Mania. I had Ronda Rousey T-shirts before I made Ronda Rousey T-shirts. Ronda Mania when we went to WrestleMania when she main evented in 2019. I made Ronda Mania shirts.
I didn't know how you were going to feel about the Ronda Rousey pitch, actually. I didn't know how you feel about Ronda Rousey.
I don't agree with her views on things outside of wrestling, but I do like her in professional wrestling, and I even said that to many people. I was like, we got to realize that we got to stop criticizing or just focusing on Ronda Rousey's second stint in WWE and realize how great her rookie year was. She had one of the greatest rookie years in WWE history, and she is the main reason why Vince McMahon said, "Yeah, we'll do women in the main event of WrestleMania." Like y'all could say, I've had this argument with Rick Ucchino so many times because Rick Ucchino is a bigger Becky Lynch fan than even I am, and he's like, "Well, Becky had to rise. That's the real reason they were gonna have Seth Rollins main event." I was like, Rick, what are you talking about? Like, as soon as Ronda Rousey appeared at Royal Rumble 2018, everybody and their mama pretty much knew Ronda Rousey was probably going to main event either that WrestleMania or the next WrestleMania. That was just a foregone conclusion when she came into the company because she was one of the biggest stars they've ever signed. And that was the whole reason why Vince McMahon said, yeah, we're going to have the woman main event. The original plan was Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Becky Lynch's rise got Becky Lynch into the main event. It didn't get women into the main event. Ronda Rousey got women into the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that was obvious when they did Evolution and Ronda headlined that show, and then they didn't do the show for another 8 years. Like, oh, y'all really just did this because Ronda was like, I don't know, pushing things, but you saw what a star you had in her, and so you were gonna make her the focal point of this. She was the reason the women main evented, and like Becky Rose. They obviously, Vince loves Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte Flair, but yeah, Ronda Rousey.
That is one of the greatest things he's ever done. I've never laughed so much in my life.
My wife, my wife could have actually, if she was online at the time, could have spoiled this because she went to the house show that night. That's when they were running like the Monday house shows as well. Mm-hmm. And she went to the house show that night where like Charlotte and everybody was advertised, and they pulled her last minute so they could do the bit where she was on Raw and be introduced to the main event. And she's like, why'd they pull Charlotte? And then of course she found out why. But yeah, she was at that house show. I have no idea what else happened at that house show except Charlotte Flair wasn't there. She just messaged, yeah, they fucked me over.
She's like, I went for Charlotte, and then she didn't show up, and then I turn on Raw, and she's there.
My wife's not a fan of Ronda either. Oh, I have a funny Ronda story. I don't know if it's funny, but I have a Ronda story. So everybody knows Sammer, who's appeared on this show. Ronda called Sammer a dork who needs to get a hobby one time. Awesome. So Ronda has replied to Sammer on social media. This was years ago, and said, "You're a dork who needs to get a hobby." I don't know. I don't know if I like Ronda more or less for that, but she's part of my friend's lore at this point. Okay, let's get through the rest of this show. Jon Moxley beat Shelton Benjamin. I thought this was a sloppy, fun match. There was some rough spots, but I do like I can live with like the rough spots. People know that like I like, not even unironically or ironically, like I like some of the Charlotte stuff, a lot of the Charlotte stuff, but like Charlotte and Tiffany from WrestleMania, because it's like rough looking, and like I think that's fine in wrestling. I don't think everything needs to be so like, oh, you hit this perfectly and this perfectly. Like I like, and Moxley and Shelton are two like very professional wrestlers who know how to cover that stuff and make it look good. But that's what this match was like. Oh, that was a little rough, but they made it work because they're Jon Moxley and Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, I think that an unpolished matchup, it could still be very good. And I thought that was what I said about like Punk and Braun. I was just upset because the whole Braun breaker almost breaking his neck was an unforced error that CM Punk, who's been wrestling forever, did. It was all on CM Punk. It had nothing really to do to me, unless I did see someone say Braun did see Punk put his feet inside, so he shouldn't have even went for the move. I do agree with that point, but I was on Punk more than it was on Braun. That was the only thing that I really criticized. But I said overall, like the mistakes that they were able to rebound from and get it back on pace, and then the final 10 minutes made that a very good main event of Monday Night Raw on Monday. And I thought this matchup had a rough start. Like I literally, 2 minutes into the matchup, I get a message, all caps, from Jimmy McAree. He's like, how can you watch this opening of this matchup and not tell me that Jon Moxley stinks? Jesus fucking Christ. I was like, God damn, why are you yelling? I was like, I didn't even think it was that bad. But then I watched it back and I was like, yeah, it was a little rough. It took them like a good 5 to 6 minutes of the matchup to get on the same page. It just looked like they just were off on everything. And it mainly, to me, it came from the Moxley side. And I say that as someone that thinks that since the Anarchy in the Arena back at Double or Nothing, or even before that, the steel cage match with Samoa Joe, I think that we've seen one of the greatest stretches of wrestling from Jon Moxley of his entire AEW run. He's put on some of the best matches of his whole entire run in this company. He's been a great heel. Now he's been an even better babyface over the last month with the story that they told in the Continental Classic, his performance last week against Josh Alexander. And then by the end of this matchup, he had a good babyface performance, but I thought that Shelton Benjamin was such the superior person in this matchup. Shelton Benjamin is still so good. And I know we were saying this when he came into AEW at the latter half of 2024. And anytime we've seen him in singles matches since then in 2025, it's been the same. But Shelton kept this match together. Shelton was the person. Like I said this to Jimmy as well. I was like, Moxley's been on a hell of a run, but he was just off tonight, and I thought Shelton was really good. Shelton was real good last night, like doing the step up into the super belly to belly suplex. His chops, his strikes looked really good. His submission work was even really good, like working over the leg, going for the ankle early. His selling of the arm was really good. Shelton Benjamin kind of carried Jon Moxley, who I consider one of the best in the world right now. I feel like Shelton carried that across the finish line and made that a very good matchup by the end of it. And I like the finish as well, where they told the right story of Moxley is getting close to letting someone basically hit the time limit and earn themselves a shot at the Continental Championship. It didn't happen last night, but it's going to happen.
I have mixed feelings on the finish. One, they copied Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree, but it was.
But they did it properly.
Yes, it was much better done than that. These finishes are always weird to me because just release the hold, you idiot. This one at least like Moxley has leverage and is putting his body weight on Shelton, where the Becky thing, like it was just her leg and it could have easily been released, and Maxine's literally looking at the ref counting like, dummy, just release it. Come on. This was better, more well done than that. But at the same, I'm always just like, you hear the count, just release the hold. It's not that big of a deal. You'll be okay. You have 5 seconds left. You know what the time limit is. You don't need to get pinned. off of this? Come on now. What's wrong with you? You've been around this long, Shelton Benjamin. You don't know to release the hold.
That's why MVP was like, he's like, face palm. How did you fall for that?
Those finishes are always tough because it's always just like just release the hold. The sleeper one, like the Austin and Brett finish from Survivor Series. That's like the best it's ever been done, and then people have like copied it since then.
And that was Brett copying it from WrestleMania 8 against Roddy Piper.
Right.
That's the first time he did it.
Yeah, so like it's been done. That's when it's done well, like okay, but it's often not done very well. It often just makes the person who has the submission on look stupid. Again, with Austin and Brett, it's like, well, this is Austin's first big match. Like you can kind of talk yourself into, okay, he didn't release it for this reason. With Shelton Benjamin, it's like, you've been around for a while. You got to know better than this. Yeah. With Maxine, you could kind of buy the idea of like, oh, this is Maxine like crumbling to the pressure and everything. Like, okay, but then the execution of it absolutely sucked. And so I completely ignore whatever story point they were trying to go with because the execution was so bad. So it's a tough balance. But I didn't hate it fully. It also just wasn't my favorite. Bandito.
It wasn't my favorite match of the night, but I thought it was a very good matchup. I think that the right way to do it is if Shelton would have let go of the submission, but Moxley still had his shoulders down and still got the pin. I think if they would have done it in that way, it would have looked better. But overall, like I said, a very good matchup. This was another instant, though, similar to the Punk and Braun matchup, where I heard people saying that this was excellent. And I was like, what did y'all watch that I didn't watch? I know wrestling's subjective, but it was good. It was very good. Why can't we just keep it as that? Keep it at a neutral territory. We can go great.
Joel Pearl special. It was fine.
Yeah, fine. That's in the range. That's closer to good and very good, where I think it was at comfortably. Great is a little higher than I would go, but I think that's fine. Excellent, fantastic. Those type of words should be reserved for matches that are objectively, I think we all agree, like on another level than just good.
Bandito beats Sammy Guevara in the worst match Bandito's ever had. He's got ground to make up for Wrestler of the Year because he's off to a bad start.
Hey, and I can't. A good start last. Oh well, no, that didn't count. Damn, that didn't count.
I can't blame him. I was
gonna say the Mortos match.
Yeah, I can't blame him. It just. Sammy Theory just ain't cutting it at this point. Yeah, that's right. Ain't working.
Yo, the new slim mustache is awful. Oh my god, it just makes him look like an even bigger prick or creep or whatever adjective you want to give him. Like, it's just so bad. I didn't think that the match was as bad as you're saying it. I didn't just think it was just a solid match. 3 stars. 3 stars to 3.25. 3.5 like, if you're feeling generous.
That's kind of where I'm at, is like 3-star range, but it's Bandito. Like the minimum is 4 for Bandito. So at 3 is a god awful match.
He got 4 stars last week with Mortos in like less than 10 minutes, and this match went longer than that. I don't know why. So
I don't think it was. I'm not trying to make it out be like the worst match in the world or anything. It was a fine Joel Pearl 3-star match, but it's Bandito. Like you walk to the ring, you should be at a 4-star level. And then it only goes up from there. You got to do something to make it go down. And Sammy Guevara did something. Post-match.
I thought the second half of the matchup was actually good, though. I thought it was good. And that's what made it just a fine, decent enough matchup. But yes, below the Bandito standard.
Yeah. Post-match, MJF comes out, and he's got his translator. I was like, why can't I think of the word? He has his
John
translator.
Cruz.
John Cruz.
As soon as he came out with John Cruz, I popped. I was like, let's go. We're getting a gimmick from CMLL. Let's go.
Yeah. MJF says, I'm a bigger star in Lucha. I went down to Mexico, sold out, beat Mystico, although I couldn't remember Mystico's name, everything. He had John Cruz do all the translations.
No. He specifically said, I beat him pillar to post. He never said he actually beat him, because that would be a lie. I love MJF's subjective word. You got to listen to the context of what MJF is saying, because he was very specific to never say that he actually defeated Mystico in Mexico, because he did not. Neither time.
And then he says, just give me the ring. We can skip the title match next week. I'll give you the title match like a year or two from now. That's a good deal. John Cruz does the translations, and then Bandito says, I speak English. You are a son of a bitch. Stupid son of a bitch. And then MJF
that got a huge pop from the fans. Yeah. The fans really enjoyed Bandito with that comeback. I thought the post match was actually a 4-star effort. A 4-star, very good post match. It was fair. MJF healing it up, him saying that Bandito used to just give him the ring. He's already got 6 of them, but he wants that one. He says, if you give me the ring, I will face you in a pay-per-view main event in 5 to 6 years. Like, I think that's a good deal. I was like, you're such a great jerk. It's so good. This was a good go home segment to set up the matchup next week, which I think should main event, even though AEW has a tendency of putting world title matches in the opener. I think this would be a very good main event and would set the bar for AEW match of the year early on next week. If they get time and it's relatively a clean, even matchup between those two guys, I think it could be excellent between what Bandito can do and what MJF can do in big time title matches or big time matches in general. I think that can be excellent next week.
I assume it would be the main event. I mean, looking at the card right now, what else is
Darby and Pac? They would do Darby and Pac in the main event for no reason.
Yeah, I don't love that. I assume. I think the only reason it wouldn't main event, but again, I don't think that this is, to me, more reason to do it, is you're doing the Omega return, and then so do you have it open and then you do the Kenny return early instead of you have it close and then you do the Kenny return at the end of the show. If that's the way they go of transitioning from the title match to Kenny returning, which they might not. They might be Kenny returns in the middle of the show and calls out MJF and kind of hypes the main event and it's I want the winner type of thing. So I think there's ways to do it. I assume it'll main event though. That's just me. I was a little surprised that MJF the deal wasn't actually you got to put the ring on the line next week. Maybe they get to that at Collision. I don't know. We shall see. I like this segment overall though. This was good version of MJF for me. Stick to the story. Don't bring up any I'm gonna have you deported type of thing. It was oh no, we don't need that, especially after yesterday. We don't need that.
Hey, he's been good MJF the last 2 weeks, and this whole segment was basically the last 2 weeks since he's won the world title. He's been good MJF, where he's played the heel role. He got over Bandito in the end. Bandito causing MJF to punch out John Cruz with the ring. Then he gives him the low blow. I do agree with the chat. Those two guys did not know how to take the 21 plex. You don't just wait there. That just makes it look very awkward. So you get, but John Cruz did better than MJF actually, because John Cruz, he started to get up as he saw Bandito coming. He just timed it a little too early. MJF just waited there the whole time as he's doing it to John Cruz, and then he waited there after he did the gun and then did the move to him. But they both sold it very well.
Yeah, so I like the post match. That was good. And then we had we mentioned earlier that Jet Speed got taken out. So unfortunately, we were not jacking in Jet Speed last night. Yeah, I was everybody do it. Everybody jacking Jet Speed. Come on, everybody jacking Jet Speed. There was none of that last night. We had the young jack-offs last night, as the Young Bucks came out with Jack Perry as the mystery partners against the demand. They have the tassels. They have the super kick party music. They are full on back to being the Young Bucks. And Jack Perry is like, I know you guys ghosted me and I tried to stab you last year, but we're cool now. Appreciate you having my back.
Remember, they got over the Jurassic Express got over this very quickly. They got over this after they beat them for the $500,000 at Wrestle Dream. Remember, they were trying to
they gave them the money. Yeah,
they were trying to give them the money after that. So this has been built very well. It was obvious to me who was going to replace Jet Speed when Jet Speed got taken out. I was like, oh, Jack needs two partners. I wonder who that's going to be. It's probably going to be the Young Bucks. But it was cool to hear the Young Bucks old theme again, them get their usual entrance, and oh my God, was Nick Jackson glad to be a babyface again, because he was awesome last night. Yo, that was Nick Jackson. That was prime Nick Jackson. He was flying all over the place. His timing was flawless in the matchup. He was just hitting every big move. That was the best match for me last night. I love that match. That was just a fun party AEW trios matchup. Everyone looked good coming out of it. Even the man who lost the matchup, that was probably the best trios matchup that they've been in since becoming a unit in AEW, where Gates of Agony looked great. Toa Leona with the triple stack freaking Samoan drop, he just looked amazing. Bishop Khan is great for the selling and then the different double team moves he could do with Toa Leona, and Ricochet is just the ultimate heel that's gonna bump around for everybody and just makes these great facial expressions when he's in the ring alone and just takes every move superbly. The double stomp into the power bomb, all the three-way moves they were doing at the end with the freaking Doomsday device, and then the BTE trigger, and then the assisted running knee strike. That was a great match, great trios matchup on the show. By far, I thought that was the best thing in ring on last night's show.
Maybe the young jackoffs can be part of this alleged trios division and go after these alleged trios titles.
The young jackoffs is hilarious.
That's their name.
The young jackoffs.
Yeah. That's going to put me on some type of list, I'm sure.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? The young jackoffs. Oh, I thought jacking off Bucks was gonna be it, but no, the young jackoffs, please
no. Willow had her title celebration. Statlander and Harley were there. She loves cake. They invited Mercedes out there. Mercedes was in white mourning, because usually you wear black to these things, but she wore white. I was like, are you going to a wedding? So what is happening here? And then Mercedes got tossed into the cake and powerbombed on the cake. I felt bad for Mercedes. I was like, it's 3-on-1. These mean girls just called you out here and just threw cake at you and powerbombed you.
They called you out here to make fun of you.
Yeah, to call you a loser, effectively. Like
it was like the all the women stuff on the show was written by either Jen Pepperman or somebody who's WWE coded, because the finish, the Storm and Marina, was very WWE finish, and then this segment was very WWE-esque, where the heels were the baby faces and the heel was the baby face. It was kind of weird in that part.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad it wasn't just me. Like, it was fun and it was like entertaining. Not everybody like played their part well, but when I really looked at it, I'm like, it's 3 against 1 for the baby faces, and you're completely bullying the heel. I mean, I guess Mercedes deserves it. She's been a bully. She's been, very braggadocious and everything. I guess if you look at it like that, it's like, all right, you know what, you kind of got what you deserved here. But I don't think the goal was, hey, feel bad for Mercedes. And that's kind of how I felt. I was like, man, I actually kind of feel bad for you right here. Like it probably would have been better if like the crash out had kind of continued and like she did just like ruin the celebration and then she got all this like, all right, you know what? Now you really did deserve this because you came out here and tried to ruin shit. Instead, you were invited out here. Just they're like, haha, you lost. Bop.
Yeah, like I was like, it should have been Mercedes interrupting the whole thing, and then you can have Renee try to ask her questions, and then she's not answering because she still has the veil on. You can't see her facial expression, and then Willow cut the promo that she did with basically being like, "No, I expected you to come out here. You know, you did this the last time I won the TBS championship, so of course I was expecting you, but I got you some cake. You know, I understand you're going through stuff right now. You've been losing all your titles. You lost to me twice. That would have came off a little bit better if the Mercedes came out and tried to ruin the celebration. She takes off the veil and then crashes out and make it a little bit longer, like she's throwing some cake, or you get Chris to save the cake. But yeah, at the end it just felt like they were bullying the person who's supposed to be the bully.
Yeah. I think this would have been a great spot for Camille to return as well. She could have bullied Mercedes some more.
And I'm here to laugh at you as well. Ever since you fired me, I haven't been on the show. The best woman segment on the show was that Tekla and Triangle of Madness promo. But I will say, like last week, I thought that when they did the promo, I thought the Sisters of Sin are in it to win. I thought that was the best part of it. This week, I was like, yo, Tekla is way too charismatic for Julia Hart and Sky Blue. It was like Tekla would probably be more over if she was on her own than in Triangle of Madness.
Anything else from Dynamite? I feel like we
I think that is it. They had a couple of vignettes. They had a vignette for Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement. Nice acknowledgement. Didn't even have to just mention it on commentary because someone did a sling blade. They showed the clips from it, and then they also did a vignette for Omega and MJF, and they did a vignette for Brody King as well, which makes me think that maybe we're going towards a Brody King singles push soon, or at least a big matchup.
I got a bunch of super chats here. Appreciate you guys sending in super chats. Matthew says SP3 and Jeremy, AEW was a solid story episode. I think if you enjoyed it, more power to you. Yeah, I like SP3 said. I think it was a good like setup stuff. That Maximum Carnage is next week. That's a big show because it's a titled show. Although I feel like they run a titled show like every other week at this point. I mean, truthfully, like if it's just Dynamite, I'm not expecting much. I'm like, oh, okay, it's just gonna be a show. Like it's got to have a name attached to it now for it to feel like a bigger show, because all of these shows have a name attached to it. I shouldn't review Dynamite. Rules of rules. Oh, the chat said I had to review Dynamite. I don't disagree. I understand the rule. I just wanted to see what you guys thought. Tenruza says having Jake Doyle and Andrade show up was big. Yep, we talked about that. Tenruza is also saying New Japan might come up with some awards, hopefully. I mean, they got match of the year on lock. So
they got it on lock until further notice. I think Lyric said it on our post show on the Fightful main channel. She was like, the only thing that she could see, and I agreed with her, the only thing I could see beating Tanahashi and Okada is if they decide to put the title on Kenny and they do Kenny versus Will in Wembley Stadium.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what if they run back CM Punk and Braun Breaker on SmackDown next week? I feel like that might give them a run.
Well, guys, we're gonna do CM Punk and Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. It's gonna be awesome because Braun Breaker is gonna win the Royal Rumble. This is what we do.
Oh, I don't think they're gonna do Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. Come on now.
I think they are.
Oh, okay. I hope so.
This is what they do. They do. Guy loses and then he wins the Royal Rumble. They did it last year. They're gonna do it again this year.
I mean, I hope so. I don't got faith in this company to do any of these things. So, I mean, we'll see if that's where they go. Tenders is saying, not NBA, but any other TNA to AEW coming soon. I don't think so. Mustafa Ali announced he resigned with TNA, so he's not going anywhere. I know TNA resigned a handful of people at the end of the year because they had some contracts coming due.
They signed BDE.
Yeah.
that was announced the other day when we were on live. I would say, unless there has been any news about it, the only ones that I would say that AEW should go after or should bring in, or I would keep an eye on, is the members of the Rascals.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up as well, because it seems like they might be done. I don't know if they're gonna go to AEW though, because
Yeah. They all have connections in WWE, but just their style, I feel, fits better in AEW.
it does. But that becomes another thing of like where are you slotting them in AEW, and I don't know. Like if they're much like we talked about with Josh Alexander, like all right, in TNA they could stand out a little bit. In AEW, I don't know how much they're standing out. Like they're fine role players.
I mean, the
AEW.
trios, make the trios division into
Well,
something.
yes, obviously that would be a good starting point, is you make the trios division into something, but they got to prove they're gonna do that before.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, yeah, put them in the trios division out here. So I just don't know where they fit in AEW. Like if I'm the Rascals, I know they've done a lot in TNA. They've kind of done it all, but it might be worth just like sticking around another year, see how the AMC stuff goes. Maybe you can get yourself elevated to a world title picture, because I think those guys have the talent to at least be there, and just go from there. Because right now in AEW, again, they just brought in Jake something. You have guys like Jet Speed. The Bucks are back, kind of in the tag team division, and maybe again, Jack Perry is going to be part of the trios there. Like there's just so much talent there. Like look at a guy like Ace Austin. They brought him in. He's there. He'll have a match, and then he's allegedly with the Bullet Club or the Bang Bang Gang, but you don't actually see them together. And
Not all the time.
that's that. So
now he's in ROH. He's trying to get a shot at Bandito for the Ring of Honor World
yeah,
Championship.
he needs to step the fuck back so Blake Christian can get his deserved title shot.
He's gonna get it now that Jay Lethal's on his side. He got Jay Lethal to turn heel on Bandito. Most noteworthy thing I've seen on ROH TV in like a year.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Ryan Santiana and Macklin should join Don Callis' family next. I do wonder if they will ever like put women in that group, because I mean Don Callis is looking a little sexist right now. Gotta say.
Hey, maybe they don't trust women around Don. We know his history. I'm sorry. I'm a Don Callis family member. I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it.
I can't follow up that. I have nothing to add off of that. Josh says, all my friend Coach Pat wants to talk about is Yukon and the heart of a bobcat. I don't get the reference. Do you get the reference?
Coach Pat wants to talk about is Yukon
Is it a rap
and
line?
the heart. Don't know. I don't know. Or he's talking about Yukon basketball team. Yukon basketball. I haven't been familiar with Yukon basketball since the women.
Yeah, I would assume so, but I thought it might be a rap line because it's Pat Bobcat. So the chat will call us idiots here in a second if we don't.
Yeah, probably.
If we don't
Probably.
get it. All right. What was your moment of Wednesday, SP3?
My moment of Wednesday had to be real Latino man Andrade El Idolo joining back up, making his third return to AEW, and my boy something Jake Doyle making his AEW debut. The Don Callis family is officially the 98 Yankees. Love to see it.
My moment of Wednesday was, even though we kind of buried the segment and was like, this didn't make a lot of sense, when they did the conga line as Mercedes is in the cake, I did laugh. And then Renee joined in. I'm like, all right, you know what? You guys are kind of dicks, but this is good. This is good.
Turned it back around for me.
Yeah. Let me throw a party on my haters' downfall here. Yeah, all right, you know what? I'm back in on this. I did love the conga line at the end of it. All right. Anything else? SP3? Anything else in
We
the world of
we
wrestling?
we haven't done it in a few weeks, but I do have best matches.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know if you want to set me up for that. I do have it here, have it
Yeah.
lined up for you.
All right.
So you
So
gotta set me up.
we're doing basically the start of the year, January 1st to January
Yeah,
8th.
I'm going
Okay.
going January 1st to January 8th.
Okay. So SP3's top 5. Top 5.
Yep.
Okay. SP3's top 5 matches, January 1st, January 8th, 2026.
So I'm going to give an honorable mention first to the Young Bucks and Jack Perry versus the Demand from AEW Dynamite. That was just a fun, my type of AEW trios matchup, a just fast-paced, balls to the wall action. That got to get an honorable mention. But coming in at number 5, we got Mayu Iwatani versus O'Hara from the Marigold New Year's event. I gave that match 4.5 stars. It was just so good. Mayu Iwatani might have the best facial expressions and selling in all of pro wrestling today. O'Hara had some lethal kicks, just beating the crap out of Mayu. Go out of your way to watch that if you haven't already. Number 4, this one I gave 4.75 stars. So we're going up a little bit here. I'm going with Miyu Watanabe versus Suzumi from the Tokyo Joshi Pro 2026 first event of the new year on January 4th. My God, you got to go out of your way to watch this. This set the bar very high for women's wrestling in all of 2026 because those two women just had a perfect power versus speed and agility type of matchup. Suzumi was flying all over the place, doing rope walks into face busters. Watanabe doing a swing from her neck. I was like, yo, these two women are awesome. I loved it. And the Kurgan Hall crowd just brought you into the action so well. Go out of your way to watch that one. Number 3, I'm going with the Knockout Brothers versus TMDK, the main event of New Year's Dash. 4.75 stars for that one as well. This is the best tag team match of the year so far. Yuto Ice is the number 1 hottest act in all of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The Knockout Brothers overall are that, and I'm so glad they're staying in New Japan Pro Wrestling because they have been a godsend to their tag team scene. And TMDK, Roya Uyawa, had one of his best performances and such a great crowd in Ottawa on Monday as well. Number 2, we're going with Yota Tsuji versus Konosuke Takeshita from Wrestle Kingdom. 5 stars. This was the match of the year for about 30 minutes, but it was so freaking good. This was the psychology, the storytelling with Tsuji going after the more kind of stamina base and endurance base. Takeshita going after his ribs, taking his wind from him, going after the ribs to set up the Gene Blaster. Takeshita going after the neck to set up for the Wagamama in the Raging Fire, and then that Gunslinger meet in the middle with the Gene Blaster, and then the Boston Crab. I was on my feet. I was like, let's go, Tsuji, tap, Takeshita, tap. But number 1, it's obviously Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 25 plus stars. We got to add the plus to that. This is one of the best matches you will ever watch. Someone who's had no knees for the better part of 3 years turned back the clock and became Hiroshi Tanahashi of like 10 years ago. It was amazing to watch. One of the best babyface performances you will ever watch. One of the best heel performances and storytelling of Okada being the AEW Okada and having to round the clock back himself and become the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rainmaker. When he does the Rainmaker pose, this is probably the biggest reaction you will ever see to a taunt in pro wrestling since your favorite game of SmackDown versus Raw. This was ridiculous how that crowd went crazy for just him doing this instead of this. Okada, Tanahashi, they set the bar for match of the year. That is number 1 for best match this week.
I thought number 1 was going to be Becky and Maxine. A little shocked there, honestly, that it wasn't.
We might have to do 1 week where we round it back and we do worst match. Worst match of the week.
Yeah, that wasn't good. There were some rough matches this week, honestly. So everybody was on holiday break, like they're getting back in a rhythm after the holiday break. So I understand it. I get it. Okay. Anything else, SP3? Anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, we just have to tell the people what we accomplished today.
Yeah, we don't have the poll results because we did the poll earlier. You guys forced me to review AEW Dynamite. All right, what did we accomplish today, SP3?
I think we accomplished a lot. It's been a while since we spent the first hour not talking about wrestling, and we got a full NBA podcast worthy first hour where we talked about the Trae Young trade to the Wizards. We talked about AEW Dynamite, of course. We talked about the fact that just because wrestling fans complain doesn't allow wrestlers to spend a 30-minute interview complaining about the fans complaining. You are literally doubling down on the point they're making because you're not an NBA player. You're not going to win a championship and be like, I was right, you were wrong. You can't do that. It's wrestling. It's subjective. So let the fans feel how the fans want to feel, punk.
I think the biggest thing we accomplished today is don't be mad at what happened minutes ago, seconds ago, hours ago. Realize there's a bigger picture for a lot of things and try to keep the bigger picture in perspective.
I like that.
Okay.
Very well said.
All right. Let the people know where they can find you at SP3.
You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHeelSP3. I will be live in about 40 minutes. Yeah, 40 minutes or so with Jimmy Macaram for AE Ramble, breaking down AEW Dynamite once again because I have to review AEW Dynamite at least 3 times a week with you, with Jeremy here, and then with Jimmy Macaram, where I'm sure he hated everything from AEW. So if you are not a fan of last night's AEW Dynamite, you need to watch.
Yeah, this was if I was like just kind of lukewarm on it, this is definitely a Jimmy Macaram hatred show.
Thumbs in the middle. Dude, the best thing on the show involved Jack Perry and the Young Bucks, so he is going to be pissed.
Yeah. He's a hater. I respect him because he's at least honest about his hatred. All right, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. Myself and Joel Pearl. I guess talking about TNA. I don't know. Probably not. We will be airing our 1-hour conversation with Eddie Kingston tomorrow. So we're basically doing like a 1-hour show tomorrow, which is pretty nice. And hopefully I can avoid TNA talk for that entire hour. Myself and Jensen will be back later on today, our first show in a couple of weeks due to holidays and everything. We got a lot to catch up on, including football, because I saw people mention like, hey, talk about football at the start of the show. Football I usually reserve for myself and Jensen. Jensen's the football guy. SP3 is more basketball. So Jensen and I will talk some football if you would like to check that out, and a bunch of wrestling as always with that as well. Otherwise, everyone have a good Thursday. Happy, safe Thursday. We'll talk to y'all later on. Take care, everyone.